Hello everyone and welcome to Stefan's podcast, the only podcast for everything Japanese news and what's going on in the big old world of Tsushima. Hope you're having a fantastic day. We've got some great news stories for you, so let's jump straight into them. First news story is the story set in Tsushima, a true story in Tsushima. Whoa, that's nice. The story is about Watazumi Shrine. You might have seen it in the news over the last couple of days, but they have banned all tourists from entering the ground, or sort of allegedly banned all tourists. If you get into it, it's pretty difficult to ban people from visiting it. But anyway, they have said that they've banned all tourists from coming here, and this isn't really much of a surprise, seeing how in June of this year they banned all Koreans, and it was about 2020, if I recall, years ago, before COVID, January 2020, the Shrine voiced an intent to ban all foreigners from entering the Shrine grounds, which they didn't do because of COVID and everything, and then just this disruption. And in June, they banned what they called, on the sign it said all Koreans. I did hear, though, that it was sort of a ban on all foreigners, but maybe not. I never went to the shrine to find out. But they banned pretty much everyone. They've banned... And in the article, I actually don't mind this. I really don't. The fact that they've banned everyone. So they have banned everyone apart from people going for what they call religious reasons. So if you're going there to pray, do that. You can still apparently go and pray and see the shrine. However, you are not allowed to go just as a normal tourist. Now this, I actually don't mind. This is much better than what they had before. Just banning all Korean people is crazy, a ridiculous thing. Banning all foreigners, I think, is just racist. I don't like it. But the fact that they've banned everyone apart from people going to pray for religious reasons, I think, you know what? That's fine. It's their shrine. They can do what they want with this. I like this policy. I wish it wasn't like this, and I wish everyone could go and see the shrine. I will say, as someone who has seen the shrine, a little bit anticlimactic. It's not... I wouldn't say it's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. I wouldn't even say it's the most beautiful shrine in Tsushima. I think there are other ones out there which are much better than that one. But because of the Ghost of Tsushima, the video game that became incredibly popular, I wrote a book called The Beauty of Japan, which is about different yokai, different Japanese monsters, and a foreigner moves to Tsushima and starts to mix with all these yokai. There's a big problem. The Yamanakos are in it. There's a lot of things. And I can't remember if in the book, believe it or not, I wrote it myself. I forgot if I put Watazumi Shrine in it. I remember having an intention to put Watazumi Shrine inside of The Beauty of Japan, but I can't remember if I cut it because I wanted this really big water labyrinth to be inside it, but I ended up moving that bit to Toyo, so I don't think I put it in the book. But as the news story goes, everyone who comes to Tsushima now is banned for doing it, unless you're going to going to pray for religious reasons. I'll be honest, if this was me and I was coming there for religious reasons, I would be emailing them. I don't know if you can email the temple. I don't know how modern they are, but I would certainly be trying to get permission in advance to go and see it and just do that. But it's a shame. It's a shame. The reason why they banned people was because of tourist behavior. They originally said it was due to Korean behavior, but pretty much, I would say 99.999999999% of the tourists coming to Tsushima are Koreans. You will occasionally, very, very occasionally, see a couple of maybe Italians, Americans, things like that, other people coming around. But living here, seeing everyone, going to the supermarket and having a busload of Korean people always turn up, it's pretty much them. And the reason for that is unless you live in sort of Busan, it is a real pain to come to Tsushima, and it's expensive as well. It really is expensive. Most Japanese people do not come to Tsushima because of the price of it. When you look at, if you want to go from, let's say, Fukuoka to Tsushima for a flight, you can often get, no offense to Tsushima, you can often get much better places for it. You can go to Korea, China, possibly. You could probably get even a little bit further afield. I mean, even if I just look now, the company who does the flight is ANA from Fukuoka. There's two flights, Fukuoka and Nagasaki. The Nagasaki one is ORC, but I think it's like a what they call a code share. So I don't really know how that works, but you can book on the ANA website and it will come up. But if I look to go today, no, let's not do today. I'm going to do a week's time. So I'm looking for Friday the 18th to Sunday. Can I do a round trip? For a normal person, this isn't me. I've got an island card, so it's cheaper for me to do it. But if I look Fukuoka to Tsushima on the 18th, I'm going through ANA's website. Value ticket, the cheapest one that I can get, which would be April the 18th, booking at 7:45, booking that value ticket. It's coming to 14,000 yen at the moment. If I click select return flight, then I book the next one, which is coming back late in the evening. It's 30,000 yen for the flights for a return flight. I'm pretty sure last time I booked to go to Korea from, I went from near Ehime, the airport there, which is pretty far away. It's Mitsushima or something, I think it is. I can't remember the name of the airport. But anyway, for 30,000 yen, which is $300, you can easily get to Korea, or possibly even Taiwan, or maybe even the Philippines. Maybe the Philippines. Maybe China for it. So there's a lot better places you can go. The Japanese is very, very rare, unless you have a friend who lives in Tsushima. Most people never come and visit the place, and it's sad. But the problem is, it's a bit of when you look at who would visit Tsushima as a people. If you want to go to the beach and you want to go swimming, you're going to go to Okinawa. If you are into history and you want to learn all about that, you're probably going to somewhere else in mainland Japan, which is easier to get to. It's expensive to get here. There's not a lot of nightlife if you come, unfortunately. That's probably, I'd say, if Tsushima has any down points, it's the nightlife, which I would say is probably the most lacking. You really need to be able to drive if you're going to come and visit the island. Not everyone in Japan can drive. They can go to much better places. You can get the boat, but people get seasick. And I think if people are going to go and get a boat, they'd much rather go down to Okinawa and see all that. So unless you're into fishing, which many people come here to do fishing, there are, I think, better. There is much better places to go and visit. But hey, taking away Ratsuzumi Shrine from that tourist list is a shame. Koreans will still come to Tsushima. I'll be honest. I don't know why they come. I don't know. I do know why they come. They come maybe to get away from the city, have a bit more relaxed, a little bit peaceful life, and that is very, very nice for a weekend. It's very nice. It's good. If you want to come to Tsushima, I do recommend it. It is a very nice place to go. I don't recommend it for people who are on their first trip to Japan. I even had someone ask me recently online. They said that they were thinking about moving to Japan for a year to to basically live in Japan and see Japanese culture and everything. And they said to me, I'm thinking about moving to Tsushima to do it. And I said, well, look, if you had got the choice where to live, don't go to Tsushima, because it adds an extra cost for everywhere else that you want to go and see. The cost of the ferry and jet fuel is expensive, and it's a little bit inconvenient. If you're coming to Japan to see Japanese culture, Japanese history, it's good for a trip, but I think you are far better off getting anywhere on the mainland so that you can go easily to different places, see different houses, see different museums, go all the way around Japan. For example, I've been here for 2 years, over 2 years, and I have only been to, and I like to travel a fair bit, I have only been to Fukuoka, Nagasaki, Osaka, and Tokyo, and that's it. Those are the 4 places that I've been to. Oh no, sorry, I've been to Ehime as well, and that's only because my sister lives there. So 5. I'm sure most people who have lived in Japan for 2 years have probably been to half of these cities. In fact, I know some people who have been to more cities, and they've come here for 3 or 4 weeks. So it's a good place to live, Tsushima. It's very nice, very relaxing. But if you're coming to set up as a base, I certainly wouldn't pick it. I'd pick some on the mainland. But there we go. Shame about the shrine being closed. I wish more people could get to see it. I've seen it. It's nice. It's a nice shrine. It's a little bit underwhelming, I think. I think there's better shrines. In fact, there's better shrines on the island. There's because where the shrine is, it's sort of in like a coast. So anytime I've seen it, the sea has just been very calm, or the sea has been out. So it's kind of just sits there. But I have seen shrines that are in the sea, and when the waves are rough and they're coming up on the shrine, that is the most beautiful thing that I've almost ever seen, and amazing. And when I just think, like, wow, how did they build the shrine there? There must have been a really quiet day, and the fact that it stayed in the sea for so long is amazing. It is also a shame that many people donated through Ghost of Tsushima to fix Watazumi Shrine. And I do think you can't take money from the public to fix the shrine and then ban people from it. That seems to me a little bit rude, a little bit unnecessary. It is not fair. If people have donated to see the shrine, you should keep the shrine up and going. I get it. It's a religious site, and they want to maintain it. They want to keep it going. They want to keep the land sacred. But on the same thing, you either have to fund it yourself or you can't take donations for it. And they didn't also say, which I wish they would have said in the announcement, if you donated to this shrine, you can still come anytime you want to come and see it, as long as you behave. But I didn't see anything in there to say that. However, these are articles that have been taken from Japanese and turned into English, so that could have been lost in translation. But I think it's a shame, a real shame. I like the area there. It's a nice area. It's relaxing. It's peaceful. But there's better places to go. Go somewhere else. Walk, as they say, walk with your feet and see somewhere else in Japan. If I recommend places to go in Japan, with my limited experience, my number 1 is probably Nagasaki. I really do like Nagasaki. I love how beautiful it is. A lot of people don't go to see it because it's sort of in the bottom end of Japan. The architecture of it, I think, is beautiful. It's all on mountains. I got told today something about Nagasaki. I mean, everywhere in Japan has these rumors, and it's apparently Nagasaki girls have the best butts because it's so hilly and they have to keep walking up everywhere you go. By the way, Fukuoka has apparently the best looking women in the world because that's where a lot of the nurses are. And there is a story like that for every single town in Japan that you go. I have heard that Tsushima girls are the best girls in the world because they live so remote and that makes them beautiful. I've heard it for Ehime. There is some story of why this town has the best looking girls, and everywhere you go there is another one. I think it is particularly funny that they have that. We do not have that in the UK. I've never heard anyone say that with London, Manchester, Birmingham or whatever. Their reason for why they have the best looking girls in the world. But there we go. I've heard it for Kyushu. I've heard it for most of them. I will say most of them I've heard are in the Kyushu area. I haven't heard them for other towns. I've heard other reasons why different cities and towns have the best looking women. I have, yeah. Stupid, but there we go. Nagasaki, beautiful, absolutely fantastic. Architecture is beautiful. Restaurants are good Japanese food. It's by the sea, it's beautiful. If you like running, there's some beautiful runs that you can do along the coast there that I've done. It's just a really nice location. And I don't think enough people see it. I think most people, when they come to their first trip to Japan, they go to probably maybe Tokyo, Kyoto, and Osaka. Those are normally the three that people go to that I've heard of. First time I went just to Tokyo, and it's beautiful. You can do a trip just in Tokyo, and I think that's very good. But I had a friend who wanted to come. He hasn't come yet, and he wanted to do this grand tour off Japan. And there was a lot of cities in a lot of days. And I think too many people, when they come, they try and see 10 cities in Japan. They're always on the move, and it sort of ruins their trip. I think you're better off picking, if you're here for a week, you just do one city. If you're here for 2 weeks, you pick two cities, you make a base in those cities, and you try and see everything you can in and around that city, instead of just going to a million places at once and seeing like this, and this. That is too crazy. There we go. But that's Stefan's thoughts on Tsushima Shrine. Properly ranted on living on Tsushima a little bit. But there we go. That's the podcast for you. Next one. Sorry if I rambled. I probably did ramble on a little bit about Tsushima there. Got very off topic. But there we go. That's a lot about the shrines. To sum up, I'm not mad they've done it. I wish they had actually done this originally, just said that we're banning all tourists apart from religious things. I've got nothing against that. I think that's fine. I get annoyed where they ban just Koreans. I thought that was stupid. I thought that was racist. And I didn't like it. They also... Yeah, anyway. Banned that, done that. Okay. Don't think it's good that they've banned it I don't think it's good that they've banned it when they've taken money from people to fix the shrine. I don't like that. That's not cool. I don't run the temple. It's up to them. I'm a business first person, so I would be looking at how can we stop tourist behavior, or I would be doing that you have to go on a guided tour into the shrine, and you give a sort of history lesson about it while you go through, and you make it very clear at the beginning of the tour that these are the rules. If you mess around, you are out, and if you disgrace the shrine, we will expect you to pay a fine. And I would make that I would try to talk to the government and make it so that they do that. I mean, the reason why I think this all kicked off was because someone had smoked a cigarette, they threw the cigarette on the ground, and they spit on the floor, which is gross. Okay, so off that topic now, I want to do something else. Going back in time, in the podcast I talk a little bit about this South Korean case with BTS. So a Japanese person went to a BTS event. It was a hugging event where you could go up and you could hug the BTS members. Why a BTS person would sign up for this, and why many people would want to do this, I don't know. But it was something crazy like 100, 200 people, maybe even, I can't remember the exact number. A lot of people were going to hug this BTS member, and a Japanese woman apparently kissed the BTS member, and South Korean police then put out a whole thing to say that we're looking for you, we want you to turn yourself in, and you should be sort of ashamed of yourself. The case has been dropped because apparently under like Korean police advisement, they've said that the investigation has been going on for too long. They're outside of the country, so there's not much we can do. We're just going to drop the case now, which I thought this case was stupid in the first place. I could understand if it was more than a kiss, but it's just a kiss. I think if I had an event where I invited 1,000 people to come and hug me, which I think is gross, why would you do that? And someone went to kiss me, I think, you know what? You invite people into your personal space, this is going to happen. That's going to happen. If it was anything more than a kiss, then I'd probably be going, yeah, she knew the rules, that's not cool. I think she got a little bit cheeky, tried to plant a kiss, it went wrong, the end. And apparently, she wasn't the only one, which was on here. The woman in her 50s, they said that there was another person, but they couldn't find them as well. Yeah, can't find it. There was, apparently there was another woman who also did something wrong at the event, and the police were looking for her, but they couldn't find her. I wonder how hard the police have been looking on this. I can't imagine it's been particularly hard, because they have CCTV all around the world. Especially, I would have thought in an event like this, if I was a BTS member, which is like Korea's most popular or most influential person at the moment. Would you not want some cameras around you to make sure you keep safe? I mean, to be honest, I'd want some bodyguards around me if I'm keeping safe. Ugh, jeez. Also, I said this in the first time, 100, 200 people hugging you and kissing you after COVID and all that stuff. No thanks. I get a cold just being in a classroom with 18 kids. I can't even imagine if they all came up and, no thank you. Gross. Gross! But next news story is guess drop. Yes, next one is, this is a weird case at the moment. Japan's going through a bit of a crazy time at the moment. I watched a thing recently as well that their parliament is not particularly in a good place, could possibly end up getting a new president in the future because his opinion polls are like through the ground, so that's not particularly good. But they have changed this law. So Japan enforces a food supply emergency law amid soaring costs. So what Japan have passed in law over farmers is they've said to farmers, you have to give us a plan on how you plan to increase your yield on all your farms, and then they can sort of approve it or deny it, or maybe they can just try and help the farmers so that they make more food. There's been a big rice shortage in Japan. That's the biggest one that I've seen. I will say this is a little bit brought on upon themselves because Japan have very, very strict laws about what food can be sold and where it can be sold from. It has one of the most expensive food costs in the world. The price of fruit here, I always say, makes me cry. When I went to Korea, I bought a big box of strawberries and I ate them in one sitting because I haven't had strawberries in 7 or 8 months. The 7 or 8 months, the last time I went to Korea and did the same. When I go to Korea, the thing that I'm most excited about is eating fruit, which should not be a thing. It really, really shouldn't. But there we go. The fruit, which is weird because even when I look on the charts for which country is the most expensive for fruit, normally actually Korea is above Japan. But I live in Tsushima, so the fruit thing is doubled. It really is. It really is. And I love going there, eating loads of fruit and doing that. I will say this is the first time I've been to Korea and I've really noticed the prices of everything. When I first went, maybe it's because I couldn't really understand the yen to won conversion and I'll just see something and I'll just buy it and wear it or eat it or do whatever. But this time, really, really, really knew what the prices were of everything. So every time I was looking at that, I was like, oh, that's not cheaper than Japan. I was like, oh, that is cheaper than Japan. And there are a few things for a change where Japan was cheaper, which is maybe good, maybe bad, I don't know. One thing that definitely isn't cheaper, I went to go and watch Busan FC versus, Busan iPark versus Busan Transport Corporation, K2 team versus K3 team. The ticket for that was 800 yen. It was 8,001. Oh my god. So cheap, so good. Best football game I've ever watched. I really enjoyed it. It was amazing. Definitely go and watch Korean football if you go. Sorry, because the stadium in Busan wasn't full at all. It was some of the best football I've watched. It was really fun. It was really enjoyable. The underdog team came back to win, which is amazing. And in an FA Cup knockout, I wish I could go and see the next version of that game, which is going to be the Busan Transport. The name is so long. I guess Busan BTC. I'm going to call them. BTC are playing a K1 team and they're playing on a Wednesday. And as close as Tsushima is, unfortunately, we just do not have the travel links so that I could go to watch the game and then come back within a day and not have to use any holiday. So gutting. Would have loved to do that. If it was in Fukuoka, I could have actually gone, made it in time to watch the game after work, got the ferry back and got back into Tsushima at 5 a.m. It would have killed me, but could have done it. But really, really enjoyed the game. I had the best, one of the best football experience that I've had at a really small, low-level football. The only time that I can say I enjoyed a game as much as when I went to go and see Bristol Rovers, Chelsea versus Bristol Rovers in the FA Cup again. FA Cups, I think best games of football, probably because it's a knockout game. It makes it more exciting. The win feels like it's more than when you just go and watch a Premier League game and you get 3 points. Again, I guess it's to the end of the season. But, when it's knockout football, everything's just a little bit better, especially when the underdog wins. Chelsea beat Bristol Rovers, but Bristol Rovers did go up at the beginning, so I did feel like they had a chance, especially going into a game where really I didn't care who won between Busan Transport and Busan I Park, but when the underdog wins, and believe me, they are the underdogs. You can see it in the tickets there, the people who are wearing the shirts. Majority were I Park fans, and the way the stadium was laid out is Circle Stadium, 12,000 capacity. You probably only had 1,000 there. I'd say 800 sitting on one side watching it, and then on the iPark side, you probably had maybe, I don't know, 100, maybe 50 people, and then in the transport side, you had about 20. So it was really good. It was a really good game. I cannot sell that game any more than possible. Go watch Busan Transport if you see them. The tickets are mega cheap. You're going to have a nice time. There's a little... This was weird, though. The shop and all the food stands were closed for the game, which I thought was strange. I don't know if it's because it was moved to a Sunday and Koreans are quite religious. I don't know if that's why they closed it. I've got no idea if just the capacity was too low. Who knows? But there was a little corner shop around the corner, so I managed to go in there before the start of the game. I got myself a couple of beers, I got an ice cream, and I got to sit, have a can of Guinness, and watch a football game in one of the first April days of the year. And it was just beautiful. So sunny, so warm. Best day ever. Best game ever. Cannot sell it enough. Oh, that's going to be probably my top memories of 2025. It's my top memory of the trip. Really good. Loved it. But back on to the news. We have 2 more news stories to get through today. Yes, so hospitals in Tokyo Shumida Ward have put in what they call, or what everyone calls, a baby hatch. So basically, if you have a baby that's under 4 months old, you can leave the baby in this sort of hatch. It will set off an alarm or like a notification for someone to come and collect the baby. The place is warm, and the hospital there will look after the baby until they put it into the child care system or whatever. And this apparently is kind of like a no-fault way that you can give up your child, which, this is good for people who have children in unexpected ways. They don't know what to do with it. They don't have the resources to look after themselves. And apparently this isn't the first one in Japan. The one before came about 20 years ago, and possibly they're going to start putting these in more places. I think, to be honest, these should be in maybe not hospital. I prefer them being in fire stations, because I don't know. I'm not a mother. I've got no idea what it is, but I feel like some people, after having a baby, they absolutely, they've just had it. They panic, and then they maybe give it away too early. And I like the idea in my head that they've go home, have a couple of days to think about it, process it all, and then decide whether or not to do it. But there we go. I got no idea with this. I've not had any kids yet, so who knows? But good ideas. I like the thought of there being a place that you can abandon your child and someone's going to take care of it properly. I wish people didn't have to do this, but that's just not the world that we live in. Bad things happen to good people, unfortunately. Next news story is about communism, I think. No, it's not. Oh no, I'm not doing that. No, I took that one out. Next news story is this is a very sad thing. Something to watch out if you ever come to Japan. Not only Japan, I would say also a lot of Asia. So 2 weeks ago, I missed this story because I was away. 2 weeks ago, a boy died after falling from a hotel in Fukuoka. Now, according to the story, he didn't fall. It's not suspected that he fell out of a window, but he fell out of a stairway. If you come to Japan, they are very, very, very high buildings. If you have children, be very, very, very careful with them. I mean, I went to a friend's apartment. They were on something ridiculous, like the 13th, 14th floor. And in between the just the barriers off it, there's just a gap like this big where any child could have fallen through. I've had hotel rooms on very high floors where you can open the windows all the way. It's not like the US. It's not like certainly the UK. The UK now is very, very strict on high-rise buildings and windows that you can't open all the way. I have never seen in the last 10, 15 years being any higher than a second floor and a window that I can perhaps open all the way. They always are like, you can open up that way, so it's difficult to fall out. So if you come to Japan, if you come to Korea as well, because when I went to Korea this time, I was on the 7th floor and again, had the whole window that you can open up. A lot of Japan, they have balconies that any children can open. Be very, very careful. When I was younger, in fact, my dad, we ended up leaving a hotel because they could open the window all the way through, and my dad was terrified that me and my little sister were going to fall out the window. So we ended up leaving that hotel and going to a completely different one. So please, if you have children, be careful with this. Find solutions for it. Some of the ways around it is you can ask for, if it's a window like that, you can ask for it to be permanently locked so children can't open it. Or if it is a problem, ask for a hotel on a lower floor. This terrifies me. I mean, I'm not overly good with heights, even though I like rock climbing, but there are a few places that I've gone here where I can't get any closer to the edge of this balcony because otherwise I'll freak out. It's too much. I've been to friends' houses, I've been to hotels, all the same. Terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. So be careful. I do wish, certainly in hotels, they should be stricter. I mean, he's fallen from the 3rd floor, so this isn't particularly high. It's very, very unlucky that this has happened, but be careful. Be very, very careful. Yeah, watch out if you come to Japan. If you've got little children in Japan, be careful of heights. They terrify me, especially they're children. They climb everywhere. I've seen my students, the very, very young students. They climb on everything. They jump in here. They jump in there. Just waiting, recipe for disaster. Thank God schools here are only, I mean, they're still 3 stories high, which is enough, but most of the schools that I teach at, especially the very young children, they're always on the, funny enough, they're always on the bottom floor. Yeah, always on the bottom floor. Yeah, I don't know if that's by intent, but all the ones that I teach at, all the very, very small children, always on ground floor, and then the older children on the top floor. Huh? Who knew? I never noticed that before until today. But there we go. I think that's everything for the podcast. That's it. I am going through some camera changes at the moment. We're learning a whole new things. Yesterday, I put out a podcast. Wasn't happy with it. It's a little bit blurry. I learnt hopefully a new technique that this isn't blurry. The problem that I'm having is I don't have autofocus on anymore, so I've got to try and sit very still, or I can just move out of focus by doing that. But I learned a new technique which I didn't know you could do, is by zooming in. I've got a button to zoom in. If I zoom in double and then focus on my eye, I can see it a lot better and do that. I originally thought, I tried to do this on my camera, but I must have tried to do it when I was filming, because when you're filming, you can't zoom in on the button. So it didn't work. And I didn't think that you could do it on my camera, but it turns out you can. So there we go. Hopefully I should be in focus today. That's nice. Look at this place. Look at this. That's nice. But that's the end of the podcast for you. Have a fantastic video. I'll be back again in the next couple of days with some more Japanese news. And I shall see you very soon. Goodbye. Goodbye.